I'm 34 now, but let's rewind a bit to where it all started, about a decade ago. I was a regular guy, working an average job in a bustling office. That's where I met her, Sarah, my future wife. It wasn't love at first sight, it was something deeper, a connection that went beyond the normal attraction. She had this contagious laughter that always made me smile, making even the dullest days bearable. Our relationship began as innocent coffee breaks and evolved into late-night conversations. We talked about the office, work, life. We shared dreams, fears, and eventually, love. I was offered another job, a promotion in another company, and I left that job for this new opportunity. Our bond proved stronger than shared workspace. We stayed in touch, and soon enough, I found myself planning a life with her. Sarah asked me to come meet her family. For me, it was like walking into a storybook of diverse characters. I went to their house, outside the city. Her parents were warm. Her brother was hilariously skeptical of me. And then there was Emily, her younger sister, 5 years younger than Sarah, being the youngest. She was the free spirit of the family, with an infectious passion for life. Emily met David at one of her work events. He was a client, a successful one. He was older, charming in a refined way, but something about him didn't sit right with me. He had a controlling air, masked by a pleasant attitude, or I should say, this fake politeness. At family gatherings, his presence changed Emily's vibrant personality into something more quiet, which was hard to miss. The early days of Emily's marriage were like a summer's day, bright and full of promise. But as months changed, so did the nature of her marriage. The transformation was gradual, a slow, obvious unease that crept into our family gatherings. Emily's change was gradual, but definitely noticeable. I remember clearly the first time Sarah opened up about her concern. We were curled up on our couch, a rare cuddling moment in our busy lives. It was during these quiet evenings that our conversations often turned towards family. You've been quiet tonight, Sarah. What's on your mind?
It's Emily. I can't shake off this feeling that something's not right with her. Have you noticed how different she's been lately?
I have. She seems distant, not the Emily we used to know.
Exactly. And whenever David is around, she's even more withdrawn. I tried talking to her the other day, but she keeps changing subjects. It's like she's building walls around herself.
Maybe she's just going through a rough patch. Marriages have their ups and downs.
No, I think there's more to it. Remember at Mom's birthday dinner last week? Emily barely said a word. And when she did, it was as if she was measuring each word. And David, he was watching her, almost like he was controlling her through some invisible leash.
I noticed that too. It was unsettling. But what can we do if she's not opening up?
I don't know, but we can't just sit back and do nothing. She's my sister, and I hate seeing her like this. I feel so helpless.
We'll figure it out, Sarah. We'll keep an eye on her and be there when she's ready to talk. Maybe she just needs a bit more time.
I hope you're right. I just wish she knew she could rely on us. That she's not alone in whatever she's going through.
I nodded. Emily, who once would lead conversations, now sat quietly in our family gatherings, her words measured, her laughter forced. The whispers among family members grew. Aunt Linda mentioned seeing Emily with a bruise on her arm, quickly covered up with a laugh and an excuse about being clumsy. Uncle John talked about how David seemed a bit too controlling at a family BBQ, but these were mere fragments, pieces of a puzzle we couldn't quite solve. Sarah tried to reach out to her sister. Her attempts met with reassuring smiles and dismissive waves.
We're just going through a rough patch. It's normal in any marriage,
Emily would say, yet her eyes told a different story. Sarah shared these frustrations with me, her fear for her sister growing with each failed attempt to have her open about her marriage. The revelation came unexpectedly. Call it fate. I stumbled upon Emily's story by chance. A Reddit username caught my eye in the relationship advice subreddit. The original post spoke of a troubled marriage of isolation and fear. It was her. I was sure it was her, pouring her heart out to strangers, seeking the advice she couldn't ask for in real life. I was torn between respecting her privacy and the urge to help. Emily's post read,
Feeling trapped in a loveless marriage. My husband's words, actions, comments cut deeper than any knife, and I'm losing myself. I am not the same person anymore. Laughter, fun, happiness is now replaced with fear, worries, and lack of self-confidence. I want to leave, but fear keeps me chained. How do I find the strength to break free?
The raw emotion in her words were clear. She's in pain. It all felt familiar. It was the way she wrote, a subtle nuance that reminded me of Emily. My heart raced as I pieced together the puzzle. The username, a variation of one she'd used years ago. The significant numbers that matched her birthday. It couldn't be a coincidence. Compelled to act but wary of revealing my identity, I created an anonymous account. My first message to her was cautious, an attempt to offer support without overstepping boundaries. I read your post, and I just wanted to say that you're not alone. It's okay to seek help, and leaving a toxic situation is a brave step towards finding happiness. Her reply came quicker than I thought, filled with a heart-wrenching honesty, a mixture of surprise and gratitude.
Thank you for your kind words. It's hard to feel brave when everything inside you is breaking. I chose this person, despite my family's concerns. Seems they were right all along, but I didn't see it at the time.
Her words shed light on her reluctance. She had chosen David against our advice, and now, admitting the truth, it was a struggle of pride and fear. Fear of being blamed for her choice, fear of ending up alone, fear of isolation intertwined with pain. We began a delicate exchange, our conversation unfolding post by post. I found myself waiting anxiously for her replies, each message giving me a glimpse into her hidden world of turmoil. My next reply was, acknowledging a mistake is not a weakness. It's a brave step towards change. Your family cares about you, and they might be more understanding than you think. Remember, bravery isn't about not being scared. It's about being scared and facing it anyway. I am sure your family loves you. They would understand. They probably sense your unhappiness and would want to help you through this. Emily's reply,
I'm afraid of being a burden. They have their own lives, and I don't want to add to their troubles. Also, the thought of their I told you so's terrifies me. I don't know if I can face them.
My reply, sometimes the hardest step is the first one. Letting others in is not a burden, but a gift. Remember, family is there to support you, not to judge. They might be waiting for you to reach out, just as worried as you are. Our Reddit exchange became a lifeline for her. With each post, I could sense a shift in her mindset, a slow but steady movement towards the courage to seek the help she desperately needed. I felt a profound connection with her, a silent vow to be that anonymous friend, guiding her towards a path of healing and freedom. The pivotal moment came after weeks of our Reddit correspondence. Emily, armed with newfound courage from our exchanges, decided to confront the reality she had been avoiding. The family gathered at our house, a neutral ground for what would be a difficult conversation. As we sat in our living room, Emily's hands were shaking. Sarah, sensing her sister's discomfort, reached out and gave her hand a reassuring squeeze. Emily, voice barely above a whisper,
I need to talk about David, about our marriage.
Her admission hung in the air, a heavy truth finally voiced. Sarah and I exchanged a glance, a silent acknowledgement of what we had suspected. Sarah then told her,
We're here for you, Em. Whatever it is, you can tell us.
Emily took a deep breath, her eyes reflecting the turmoil within.
I think I made a mistake marrying David. He's not the person I thought he was. He's controlling, narcissist, abusive, and I'm scared of him.
The words tumbled out, a floodgate of emotions and fears opened. She spoke of the subtle manipulations, the isolation, the moments of fear that had become her daily reality. Our family listened in silence, each of us processing the gravity of her situation. The atmosphere shifted from tension to one of support and concern.
Oh, Emily, why didn't you tell us sooner? We could have helped.
I was embarrassed. I didn't want to admit I was wrong about him. I thought I could handle it.
The conversation continued, with each of us expressing our support and reassuring her that she was not alone. It was a moment of unity, of collective strength, family strength. As the discussion turned towards the future, it was clear that a divorce would be the solution. Divorce might seem daunting, Emily, but it's a step towards a safer, happier life. You deserve that. We all want that for you. Emily nodded, a mixture of fear and relief in her eyes.
I know it's the right thing to do. I just need to be brave enough to do it.
The family rallied around her, offering support in various ways. A place to stay, legal advice, or just a shoulder to lean on. The decision was made. Emily would file for divorce, a step towards reclaiming her life and her happiness. As her family, we stood by her, a united front against the storm that lay ahead. In the following weeks, we all played our part in supporting her through the legalities and emotional roller coaster of filing for the divorce, watching Emily regain her strength and independence. During this time, my role as the anonymous advisor on Reddit came to its natural conclusion. With Emily now surrounded by real-life support and no longer in need of guidance from a faceless stranger, I logged onto Reddit for the last time. I stared at the screen, reflecting on the journey that began with a random discovery, and wrote my final message to her. I'm glad to hear you're taking steps to change your situation. Remember, you're stronger than you think. Good luck. With that, I deleted the account. It felt like closing a chapter, not just in Emily's life, but in mine too. As I leaned back in my chair, I thought about the unusual twists of fate. No one in my family, not even Sarah, knew about my secret involvement. They were unaware of how I guided Emily towards the light at the end of a dark tunnel. And that's how it would stay.